Hello, welcome to Chess for Rookies. My name is Alex Kupersmith, and this is the first episode of my series, Chess Openings for Beginners. In this series, I'll be focusing on one opening per video that I think will improve your chess knowledge and help you win more games. Please subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Now, enjoy the video. Today, we'll be doing one of my favorite openings, the Italian game, also known as the Juco Piano. I think this is the perfect openings for beginners who just want to play the game and get into positions where they have chances to win. The first moves are e4, e5, knight f3, and knight to c6. This is one of the most common positions in all of chess. There are many moves here for white, including knight c3, bishop c4, or bishop to b5. Today, we'll be covering bishop c4. I like this move because it puts pressure on this f7 pawn, and even though you can't take it now, because the king will just take you right back, it's a potential target for later in the game. So here, black's moves can be bishop c5, knight f6, and d6. Obviously, there are other moves, but these are the most common, and probably the better ones. So it doesn't really matter what black plays here, because your moves should be similar in all scenarios. Your next move should be d3, castles, knight c3, and bishop g5. Doesn't really matter what order you play them in, as long as you can do them without losing material. Okay, let's start with bishop to c5. This is pretty much the same idea for black, because they develop their bishop, prepare to get ready the castle once they can move this knight, and it puts pressure on your f2 pawn. So here you can play any of the moves I mentioned before, but I prefer castles, just because it gets your king to safety and away from danger. It'll probably go knight to f6, because this attacks your e4 pawn. So now you have to decide how you want to defend this pawn, because you can go knight c3, d3, or even rook e1 or queen e2. Here I would definitely prefer to play d3, because this defends the pawn with this pawn here, and it opens up this bishop to move here. So let's say they go pawn to d6. You can play simply knight c3 or bishop to g5. So here I would much rather play bishop to g5, because this is what is known as a pin. So you see this pin here? If black were decided, oh, I want to move this knight, white's bishop can just take their queen. And that's a very good trade, because the queen is more valuable than the bishop. So say, okay, this is a very instructive move, pawn to h6. Now think for a minute, what do you want to do here? Okay, so here you definitely do not want to take the knight, because then they can take back with the queen, and now you no longer have a pin. So the right move is to stay in the pin and go bishop to h4 here. And then if they go pawn to g5, they may be overextending themselves on the king side, and you may be able to get a good attack since they're moving their pawns up so much. Okay, let's say they go castles. Good developing move for them. You can go knight to c3. Now that you've got all your pieces out, it is time to move them to better positions. So knight c3, you can prepare to go knight to d5. And what is so good about this knight d5 move is that it attacks this knight, and now you have two pieces attacking the knight. And if they decide they want to take here, you can go here. So for example, let's say black goes bishop g5 here, g4 here. This may not be the best move for black, but for example here, you can go knight to d5. Maybe wondering what's so good about this knight d5 move. As I said before, here if they take, you do not take here or here, because then you're just only winning or it's actually only a fair trade. But instead, you see this bishop here, you take their queen. And if you take their queen here, they have to take with the rook, and then you can take their knight back here. And if you look at the material now, you're just winning. Because, look, they have two rooks here. You have two rooks, so that's even. They have a bishop and a knight. You have a bishop and a knight. So that leaves just the queen versus the bishop. And since the queen is more valuable than the bishop, obviously white is better here. So say we go back here, because even though they're probably not going to take this knight, your position is very good because you have so much pressure on this knight here, and you can probably add on pressure by bringing the queen into the game once you can remove this pin as well. Say, for example, they play a better move. Instead of just taking your knight, which just loses their queen, they can play rook to e8 maybe here. And now I want you to think, what do you think the best move is here? There are actually two very good moves in this position. Okay, so you either want to go knight takes f6 or bishop takes f6. You may be wondering, why are these moves so good? Because say you go bishop takes f6 here. They cannot take back with the queen, or else you can trade the queen for the knight, which is obviously good for them. Good for you. So they have to take back with this g pawn. And now all of a sudden, their king side is wide open. Look at this pawn structure. This is just asking for you to get a very good attack on the king. You could go queen d2, and now all of a sudden you're attacking this pawn, and it's looking really bad for them. Because, for example, if they take here, you have this brilliant move, queen here, which actually cuts off all of the king's escape squares. The king cannot move, and you're threatening knight takes f6 here, which would be checkmate, unless here, because the only way they can avoid it is to go queen takes f6. Because say they're like, oh, my bishop is hanging, I gotta go back. Knight takes f6, and all of a sudden their king can no longer move, can't go here, cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here. So their only move is here, and you can take here, and now you're up a queen for 2 pieces, which is a very good trade. Since the queen is worth 9 points, and 2 pieces are only worth 6 points. And you still have a very good attack here. This bishop points to here, this goes here, and you're just in such a winning position. And while you may not get into this exact position every game, don't worry, because if you remember the moves that I told you in the beginning, pawn d3, here, let's go back here. Just remember all the moves I mentioned, bishop c4, castles, pawn d3, bishop g4, bishop g5, knight c3, and if you just remember all these moves and you make them without losing any material, you will get into positions where you have plenty of chances to win. That is why the Italian game is such a good opening for beginners. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have success when playing this opening. Stay tuned, because I will be releasing more opening videos soon.